Greetings and salutations. My name is Michael and I am the Diddlesy Gamer, and welcome back to my GM and player tips, tricks, and advice for all things horror. Today we are going to be discussing what we do when we freak out. Yes, that's right. Getting your freak on and freaking out is one of the best ways for players and GMs to implement horror in your game. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, I'm not gonna keep that accent up, but you know what? I really need to figure out a way to turn off that accent. Oh man, I love it though. But yeah, let's talk freaking out. All right, what is freaking out? Freaking out is where a character or a person has an overwhelming sensory input that is basically just shattered or is otherwise discombobulating their common sense of thought. Freaking out is that expression of just not knowing or not being able to process everything that's going on. And it's just an explosion of emotions, feelings, behaviors. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing to let the other players and to let your GM know that you, or at least your character, has no control right now. That's it, right? Why is that important in horror? Because in horror, we relinquish ourselves to the idea of fear. In a role playing game where we have, like, say, tons of hit points, or where we have at least the knowledge that once the game is over, we are not in any kind of mortal peril, always creates a sense that danger isn't necessarily real. So freaking out tends to be a little bit more forced, tends to swing for the fences, but if you can master the art of freaking out, you can actually really help enhance the atmosphere, the tension, and the overall enjoyment of a role playing game. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about some ways characters can freak out and how you can do that for your table. Now, let's start right on the fence because I feel like this is one thing that a lot of people do when their characters freak out. Stop me if you've heard this one. My character freaks out, okay? He goes to the corner of the room, he starts shaking and huddling and screaming into the darkness. Ah! Okay, cool. I go over to Alan's character. I sort of say, "Come on, man, snap out of it. We gotta keep it together." No, I'm freaking out. I'm freaking out too much. Ah! Now, freaking out is great. Alan, who who I made in that particular situation, he's on the fence. He's right there. Too much. Everything is too much, and he just can't express himself or bring himself under control. But the point in which that becomes tricky is when someone's trying to bring you back and you resist that or you rebut it, right? So swinging for the fences is all about pulling yourself out of the game almost. Like getting to that far edge of where the line between the game that you're playing and the game where you're not playing happens to live. The pulling of that kind of character is really great because yeah, you know what? Life is hard. Things are terrible. It's a horror game. Everything's scary. And sometimes you just don't wanna. But as a player, you have the buy-in of wanting to go and continue the adventure and continue on the horror game. So when another player sees that opportunity, it drags them in. It helps place them in the position of the reliable character in the group. And it allows them to get you and sort of say, snap out of it. We've got to do this. If we don't do this, more people will die. Or we have to leave. You can't just sit here. The killer will find you. Whatever it is, that player who's freaking out needs to then be able to snap themselves back, to bring themselves in and go, okay, no, I think I've got this. To recombobulate, to sort of get themselves back in control so that they can continue the adventure, right? Having moments of freak out like that, like heading for fences, is great. There's nothing wrong with it. The only trouble also comes in is if no one wants to bring you back. Then you need to bring yourself back. And that could be a simple thing of they leave. They walk away from you. You're doing your own thing, you're freaking out, you're doing the thing. They leave. You're like, oh, I don't want to be alone. No, I don't want to be alone. Okay. I'm coming. Wait for me. Right? Bring yourself back in. That's the important part of freaking out on the fences. The second type of freaking out is a lot more subtle. This is where I enjoy freaking out, mostly because it exists in a place where it's internalized, and you can keep your character's integrity. So let's say you've built a character who's big, strong, stalwart, whatever. And you want to feel fear, of course, because it's a horror game. Well, internalizing definitely makes that possible. without shattering that visage of your character's strength and prowess or whatever. But your players and your GM cannot read your mind. They're not part of the story if you are just internalizing everything as a player as well as a character. So take your time to freak out, but talk as if you are narrating your character's mind. So, for example, Alan, who is now my victim, uh, as Alan sort of takes a moment, he stops mid track, halfway down the corridor. He closes his eyes and just listens for a moment. And in the back of his head, he just thinks to himself, "Oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing here. All these people, they rely on me. They depend on me. Oh, I've got no clue what I'm doing. If my God, if this thing catches us, maybe I should sacrifice myself. No, I can't. Oh my God, I've got so much to live for. We just gotta keep moving. We gotta keep moving." Alan then turns to the group and says, "All right, listen, we have to go this way. Let's keep going." Right? You still freak out. You still have that moment where your character's just losing it, but it doesn't steer away from your character's attitude. It doesn't steer away from that. It allows you to freak out internally. Now, the third and probably again one of the most useful types of freaking out that I have definitely seen is the losing control and going mad. Right now, I know that we did the kind of against the wall type thing. Kind of the paralysis, I guess, of character. This one's about being over assertive. Now, I feel like I don't know, maybe this is just me, maybe this is just my experiences, but a lot of players tend to default to this if they don't know how to handle playing a character who's afraid of stuff. It's basically the catch of I don't care about my life anymore. I'm going to open every door. I'm going to touch everything. Leroy Jenkins, straight through and into the next encounters. That type of freaking out is really good, but in order to really make it count, you have to prefix it. You have to start with something that is going to allow the other players an opportunity to intervene and stop you if you are acting too reckless, right? Because, I mean, yeah, sometimes you can just walk into the trap and it only affects you. But other times, yeah, you can trigger something or even trigger multiple encounters by running through, you walk into a door. Oh God, there's a lich. Okay, I'm closing the door. I'm running over there. Oh, a beholder. I close the door. I run over there. Oh my God, it's a freaking giant. You know, you've got to give players, or you got to give your fellow teammates a means of being able to stop you or to basically, kind of like, oh, whoa, or try to calm you down. So that type of freaking out is dangerous, and I always recommend that if you are going to do that, prefix it with, "You can see that my character is getting nervous. He's getting anxious. Anxious is a great word. Always use it. My character is anxious. My character is starting to get paranoid. If you don't want to express it, like maybe you're not a trained actor, or maybe you just don't really feel comfortable putting that level of performance in your characters, then just say those words. Paranoia, anxious. He's uncertain, he's nervous. All these little things. His hands begin to tremble, sweat begins to drip from his cheek. All these little things, just the words, build the same amount of effort as if you were to literally sit there and shake, right? Anyway, give them a hint. Let them know your character is about to do something. You see Alan as he's shaking his hands. He turns and he sees the door. He seems to sort of shake his head a few times before running and rushing over to open the door. Now, rushing over to open the door is an expression of intent, not an actual action, right? So Alan rushing over to the door gives the players a chance to do something. Alan, I open the door and I run in. Well, there's nothing the players can do at that point, right? You don't create that opening for anyone to interact with or role play with you. So just bear that in mind. Prefix your freak out. Prefix it with something. Then you give your the other players a chance to interact with you, which of course builds great story and role play. Freaking out, guys, is one of those things that bond a group of horror heroes together. It really is. How do you guys support each other when things are at their worst? Things are at their darkest. That is always going to be up to you as a player feeling and being able to play vulnerable characters, and other people being able to be given the opportunity to interact and engage with those vulnerable characters, to either uplift them or even drag them further. You know, if you're freaking out and another player is at your table and they're also thinking the same thing and they're also freaking out, yeah, you can definitely both freak out together. That's perfectly fine, right? And it gives the GM ammunition and it makes the GM feel like they're really hitting home with the atmosphere, with the encounters, with the story. And, that's what we're here to play. That's what we're here to do. We're here for horror games to feel that sense of dread, terror, and vulnerability all together around a friendly and fun game. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, of course, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to hear whenever we have stuff going on. We are now broadcasting a couple of live streams on our YouTube channel as well, so definitely come check those out. And of course, guys, a very, very, very special thank you to all of my friends and fans who are on our Discord channel. You guys have been really supportive over the last few months as I have been slowly but surely returning to my YouTube advice videos. If you want to be part of the Discord community, then head on over to discord.com/DeadAussieGamer and you can come and hang out as well. And of course, last but not least, I do have a Patreon where you can come and play with me on one of my tables at patreon.com/DeadAussieGamer. All the links are in the description below. Come and check them out. Until next time, guys, as always, game hard! Or die trying. Farewell.